I think this is going live. Hello. Welcome to the Reinventing the Tattoo Network. This is the TattooNOW Show, the last one of the year. So we're going to cover some of the stuff that happened last year, some of the stuff that's coming up. I'm going to demo a new site that we've are launching as we speak for tattooers. So from Mike DeVries. So if you are interested in Mike DeVries and new websites, it's got some pretty cool technology and whatnot I'll be demoing. But first, I want to make sure that this is working. So if you are watching in any of the chat rooms, please let us know, leave a comment. It looks like my YouTube channel might not be working, but we'll see how that goes. Steve Money episode. No, oh, TattooNOW is live. Okay, so it looks like it is going live out on the Facebooks. You know what I think? If I click on and now we are live on the TattooNOW network. Thank you very much for bearing with me a little bit as we're I'm playing host and tech and writer and whatnot. So let me head on over to the script, and so I could basically let you know what you're watching, and then we can get on with it. So as I was saying, this is Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo community, where tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious are encouraged to join in these live streams, real world events, to share with each other, to inspire each other, and ultimately to create better art and tattoos together. We are beaming out 5 days a week, and with your help, have turned into the quality tattoo network that you kind of want to see, or that I wanted to see, we wanted to see. It's amazing. Definitely want to thank Guy Aitchison and Reinventing the Tattoo for making this possible. It's his influence and his founding of Reinventing the Tattoo, first as a 3-ring binder like over 20 years ago, and it has evolved into a book, and then DVDs, and then an online course, and now it's this community that's beaming out 5 days a week. But there is a membership that for professionals, if you are a tattooer or an apprentice on their way to being a tattooer with a mentor. Reinventingthetattoo.com has the canon is for you. It's an in-depth look into the different aspects of tattooing. It's not just for bio. Guy has an amazing way of explaining, and he's been teaching for 20 some odd years. So it's not just like an online course from some people that are able to do some cool stuff. It really is, like I said, it's an amazing resource to be able to tap into. And he's doing exercises every Monday night. So go to reinventingthetattoo.com. If you're an artist or an apprentice, you want to join the professional membership. At the least, though, sign up and join the mailing list. We're on the YouTubes and the podcast. You might be watching on the podcast store. Either of the app stores, there's the Reinventing the Tattoo app, and you could download it. And we are shifting technology soon, but you should be able to just go and download the app. Shouldn't make a difference. Okay, the Reinventing 24/7 goodie bag. Oh, this is amazing. Reinventing. If you go to reinventing247.com, basically, as I was saying, we have all these paint jams and interviews, discussion panels. There's all sorts of programming. And if you want to recommend Reinventing to somebody, or you just want to find something to watch at 3 o'clock in the morning, Reinventing 24/7. I'm going to screen share with you here, and I'm pretty happy about it. It's one of my favorite things about this last year is that we got this together. And at any given time, there is 5 awesome things playing. This is Aja Lu and Android Jones playing for the Reinventing the Equinox Festival that was happening this spring. Let's see here. You hear it. This is like a couple hours here that you can play for your clients if you're tattooing them, or if you're a client getting tattooed and you want to zone out on your headphones for a little bit. It's pretty cool. And you'll see here we've got Monday Mornings with Jake. These are all replays. The Surreal Portrait with Rain. I got a little description here. Click on Art Jam channel. It's going to switch right on over. We also have, it's loading up here, but we also have on second page the global channel that happens in Spanish. While this is loading, I'm going to scroll on down. We'll see we have our sponsors here. And this is pretty awesome, the Reinventing the Tattoo sample bundle. If you are at a tattoo studio and you have a tattoo studio address, you could fill this out, and then you will get a soon-to-be famous Reinventing the Tattoo sample bundle. If you're in the inclination to try out needles, we have cartridges from Cheyenne, or inks from Raw Pigments, or healing from Dermalize, then fill it out, the form here, and then we'll send that package right on to you. Okay, let me stop sharing. I'm using up too much bandwidth clearly for Reinventing 24/7. But okay, let me check real quick here, make sure, see if it's working for people. As I was saying, if you write in the chat room, oh yeah, here we go. We got some viewers here. Facebook also seems to be going off. Okay, we're getting some likes. Thank you very much. Hopping in. Oh, let me clear this. Oh, it looks like we're getting some comments in the chat room. I love to tattoo, or I love tattoos. I'm searching for Viking tattoos on my neck, Aldrasso. If you let me know whereabouts you're from, then we could often recommend awesome tattooers. Cool. So what I'm going to do is, oh wait, no, let me get back to my script here so I could continue to make sure I hit all of the proper points before we get into it. Anyways, okay, we have in the Reinventing the Tattoo network weekly shows, and you could always find the schedule on the homepage of Reinventing the Tattoo. I'll show you that in a second. The weekly shows that happen that you are encouraged to join if you are a tattooer or an artist. You're encouraged to join these drawing groups if you have Zoom. Every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern, this is Eastern Standard, 1 p.m. is a drawing group with Jason Leeser. Every Monday mornings at 9 a.m. is an early bird drawing group. Every Mondays at 9 p.m. is the subscriber exercise with Guy Aitchison. So every week at 9 o'clock, you could have your art exercises critiqued by Guy Aitchison. It's out of control. But there's people that have been doing it every day for like over a year now, or not every day, every week for over a year now. And, you know, their art is just getting amazing. Like I said, it's getting critiqued by Guy Aitchison every week. So let's see, Tuesdays at 10 a.m. with a drawing group with Ricardo. Wednesdays at 12 noon is the TattooNOW Show, which is actually the show that we're watching right now. If you're watching live, or if you're watching the replay, it's still the same show. Thursdays at 10 a.m. is the Subscribers with Kier, which is a drawing group for subscribers, but all skill levels are encouraged, including apprentices and apprentice types. And then Thursdays, every Thursday at 12 noon is the Tattoo Collecting Podcast. They've been going for well over a year straight. We have special shows live in the Castro, the Spanish one, Hablamos del Arte. Oh, I don't want to miss some tent talks with Robert, Shaw. Uh-oh, now I know I'm going to miss some. Tony Urbanik does machine building madness, or magnetism, mayhem, and machines with Tony Urbanik, where he talks with machine builders. I should have it all fired up. You know what? As I was saying, if you go to reinventingthetattoo.com, straight up www.reinventingthetattoo, then you will see, I could show you how, this will also be how you could join in with these shows. And it is amazing to have seen a real awesome crew of people joining in with these drawing groups. So every week, and sometimes people are joining a couple times a week. So this is the homepage of Reinventing. If you scroll down to, hey, look, there's us. This is the show. Here we go. We have our event schedule. And if you want, you can come in here, add this to your calendar. This is where we put the Zoom links, and it's pretty cool. So let's see here. I'm going to talk about the upcoming real world events that we will be at in 2022, which is also clearly pandemic pending. But February 5th and the 6th is a Reinventing the Tattoo live from the Red Tree True Tubes facility in Columbus, Ohio. And actually, I do have a lot of this fired up right now. The lineup is pretty awesome. This is February 5th and 6th. It is geared mostly towards tattooers, but there will be an open house and stuff for collectors also. But let's see, we're going to, it's at the True Tubes facility in Columbus, as I was saying, and this is basically a derb from Hell City. fame, I suppose. It actually is a famous, world famous tattoo convention. He's been on the TV and stuff. It's his warehouse. It's also the home of Red Tree Tattoo and the True Tubes facility. And in the warehouse, he's put up a stage. We'll be setting up pipes and drapes for like 3 or 4 booths. So there will be on-site tattooing, on-site painting, seminars, collaborative tattoos, collaborative painting, all sorts of fun stuff for 2 days. It's $25 to get in for the 2 days to check out the mini ballroom with all the stuff. There'll be Q&A going on, and again, stage things, a lot of these interviews, podcasts, and whatnot. And then 2 seminars during the day, and then 1 at night, which will be the 2 teachers during the day and Guy Aitchison, who will be beaming in to lead a discussion panel. So it's going to be a lot of fun. This is February 5th and 6th. It's coming right up. And I'm going to be feverish. I am feverishly working on the detailed page to send everybody to. Currently, if you go to get on the Reinventing the Tattoo mailing list, or the True Tubes Hell City mailing list, we'll be blasting it out any day now, I swear. Or you can email me directly, gabe@tattoonow.com. A couple of people have, and I will get back to you presently. The lineup includes Bob Tyrell, black and gray, awesome master. I guess you could say master, but yeah, he's amazing. His seminar is awesome. It's the full Bob Tyrell experience, black and gray. Look at this, it's just out of control. Bob is also a judge in drunk critique. I don't know if we'll be doing drunk critiques or not, but you could definitely check him out if you do a search on the YouTubes for drunk critique. It's a lot of fun. You'll see Bob there. St. Mark, who is been an awesome inspirational tattooer for a long time from the Midwest. Very excited to have him. He is crafting his workshop or seminar. Look at that. He's with Jeff Goldblum there. He's on TV. He's got a couple of recent podcasts you can check him out on. St. Mark, amazing color guy from, again, very experienced. It's hard to talk about how old people are and be tactful about it. But anyways, he's very seasoned. Julian Marie, an awesome tattooer. We've had her on some of the shows, but we're excited to have her at this event live, doing tattoos for 2 days and doing Q&A. She's not doing a seminar, but that makes her even more accessible, I suppose. Again, you can check her out at her work right there in person and ask her some questions and encourage her with kind words about how, what she's doing is clearly awesome. It's unique, and any bit of knowledge that she has to share with us is going to be pretty amazing. And that's a guest spot here. But yeah, look at all this. It's out of control. So we're really excited to have her on. Let's see. Okay, so Jesse Smith, who hopefully doesn't need any introduction, but he's also been on some of the TV shows. Also has an amazing seminar, great tattooer, and even with black and gray, again, I think it was a one-trick pony was his what ended up happening in the we got some animations here. Some awesome tattoos. Anyways, his seminar, he did one at the BYOB recently. Oh, you could check out his podcast on the Fireside Tattoo Network. So do a search for Fireside Tattoo Network and Jesse Smith, and you'll catch his. Oh, look at that! I must have caught it. Let me see if I'm sharing here.
Eyeballs, right? I mean, hey, today's episode is about tattooing eyes, like in a composition, and not physically tattooing eyeballs, right? I mean, if you clicked on this video thinking that we were going to demonstrate how to tattoo someone's eyeballs, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, this is a family tattoo show, right? We just don't talk about that kind of stuff. Hey, Shaka Bras, welcome to the Fireside. My name is Jake. Very excited to have you back here for another episode of 3 Minutes to Better Tattooing. Today's episode features our buddy Jesse Smith. We were lucky enough to film a webinar with Jesse a few months back at the Paradise BYOB, and he was kind enough to let us clip out a little nugget of it to share with you, and it's about his approach to designing eyes. I'm going to go ahead and let him give his tip, and then I'll share my thoughts after the episode, so I hope you enjoy.
Understanding eyes.
Okay, so that was a teaser for the teaser for Jesse Smith. Other people that will be at Red Tree for the Reinventing Live, February 5th and 6th, is Conan Lee. And you can check out, he's an amazing tattooer, Indianapolis, great shop owner, also a geek who is the founder of tattoo release form apps. He also has many parts of his tattooing process automated. He's, like I said, he's a geek. So he'll be talking about how to organize yourself as an artist and as a studio owner to get the most out of your time. I know that time management is always at the top of the topics that people are hoping we talk about and have seminars about. Nick Mitchell, a caricature artist who is now who's been tattooing now for a while, and he's clearly carrying over his style into the tattoo world in an unbelievable way. He has put together his seminar for, well, he didn't put it together for the BYOB, but he did do it at the Paradise BYOB recently in October, and he will be bringing his seminar to Red Tree Tattoo in February 5th and 6th. And yeah, check out all this. He is an amazing tattooer. We're so excited to have him back. So great. And so if you're looking to get tattooed by any of these artists, definitely get in touch with them directly, because they are accepting clients, as we just solidified up this event pretty recently. So they are all accepting clients. Let's see, and Renee Little, she leads a painting jam on the Reinventing channel once a month. We just had one 2 or 3 days ago. It was pretty awesome. Had a bunch of people join in. Again, if you're a painter or an artist and you're interested in joining some of these other artists, it's not quite the same as a convention, but you get a bit of the camaraderie. You know, an hour, 2 hours of hanging out and painting together is pretty fun. And yeah, Renee also came out to the BYOB, did a plein air workshop. She owns a tattoo shop out in Oklahoma City, I believe, definitely in Oklahoma. And is always inspirational tattoo shop owner as well. And as I was saying, Guy Aitchison will be beaming in. Very excited to always have him participate. And he's excited to be catching up. Basically, like I said, he'll be touching base with the teachers from the day, and then leading a discussion panel / deep dive interview with them in the evenings. And his tattoos are obviously always ever inspiring. It's very exciting. This is Guy Aitchison, GuyAitchison.com. Do a search on any of the Instagrams. He is the founder of Reinventing the Tattoo, the Canon, the community. Yeah, there's a reason why you're watching what we're watching. Look at that. He's been an inspirational tattooer for decades, and continues to push it, and will be for decades to come. Let's see, there's the yesterday's progress. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Let us know in the chat room if you've been aware of Guy before, or in the comment section, because if you haven't, if you're just discovering for the first time, definitely go give him a follow. Okay, and then last but not least for this, this is Red Tree. Actually, this might be a little bit of a tour here of where we will be doing this Reinventing Live, February 5th and 6th. You will be able to beam in. So all of the tickets will be for both in-person and virtual, so that if you are concerned about the virus, yeah, you can beam in virtually. We don't quite have the 360 cameras to go in VR yet, but we're planning on it. And yeah, Red Tree is an amazing tattoo studio. Derb leads a great crew. Fawn will be setting up for the Tattoo Collectors podcast, and trying to look for other spots here. But and then yeah, and then, like I said, obviously this is where True Tubes is. You give them a follow. This is Derb's tattoo supply company, and yeah, we're very thankful for having them allow us to use their event space. Okay, so I'm going to fire up a video here. This actually is a clip from last year from the Reinventing the Tattoo channel, and it is with John Swerk, There's been a lot of talk about the inks, and we have quite a few interviews with some of the ink manufacturers through the course of the year. Alex Van Dutch from the World Tattoo Events. Oh, there's an event that we do a couple times a month or once a month. The World Tattoo Events, History of Tattoo Conventions, or the Future of Tattoo Conventions. But this is an interview that it was with John Swerk. He's a photochemist, I believe, in Rochester, New York, somewhere in New York, I believe. And he's studying the effects of ink from a university point of view. So he's basically in it for the knowledge. Let me fire it up here, and then I'll be back after this clip is done. Like I said, feel free to leave your comments in the chat rooms.
I think if I had to have a tattoo removed right now, I would probably want to do this dermatome shaving over, say,
Sure.
laser tattoo removal. Not to be too critical of laser tattoo removal, but for us, right, we have a class 4 laser, same thing that you would have.
Oh, sorry about that. I need to re-screen share here, but I caught it quick enough that I hope you don't mind.
I think if I had to have a tattoo removed right now, I would probably want to do this dermatome shaving over, say,
Sure.
laser tattoo removal. Not to be too critical of laser tattoo removal, but for us, right, we have a class 4 laser, same thing that you would have in a medical environment. It took us 6 months of approvals, documented safety trainings, a lot of things in place to prevent possible hazards or dangers. If you want to get into laser tattoo removal, as far as I understand, it takes about a weekend. And so, there's, again, it's an area where I don't know that there's a lot of insight, and it concerns me because the whole industry is based on this model of the laser comes in, it causes the tattoo pigments to fragment, and then, they can become mobile and the body can remove them. And I'm not convinced yet that that's the correct model.
Sure.
And so I don't think we really know well enough what's going on, and that makes me a little reluctant to wholeheartedly endorse that.
Yeah, I agree too. There's I guess a lot more heavy speculation now, because that's kind of a hot topic in the industry, the laser removal process. And if that didn't need to be there, would the results still be the same? Something to worry about.
Right. And I think the rationale for underlining a lot of what we do, the fact that light can cause things to change, is demonstrated by the fact that it's not uncommon with laser tattoo removal for the pigment, the embedded pigments to change color when exposed to the laser, right? So that's a very obvious example of light driving some kind of chemical transformation.
Sure.
That's not at all uncommon.
Very interesting. So I know that we do have to close off here in a couple of minutes. So I'm curious how you would say, how does analytical chemistry, material science, cell biology, how does that translate to your everyday tattooer?
Yeah, so, a lot of what motivates us is, we genuinely want to empower the people in your community to have the best products and the best outcomes for your clients. Somebody asked me at one point, are you anti-tattoo? And I said, no, not at all, right? There's a lot of people in the lab that have tattoos. There's people that have gotten more tattoos since they started working on it. We have expertise and we have access to tools that most people don't. So we can provide some oversight here, and at the same time, hopefully do some interesting science. But our goal is to take the skill set and the tools that we have and help empower tattoo artists, clients, even ink manufacturers to develop the best products, the safest products. Beyond that, when we talked to tattooers, why do you like this ink? Why don't you like that ink? It's not uncommon to hear things like, oh, this ink doesn't suspend very well. I don't know why, this one fades. This one's hard to work with the guns. That's all sort of material science. It's chemistry. It's the kind of things that, people in my world think a lot about and sort of know how to address a lot of those questions too. So along the way, we also think we may be able to help contribute to some understanding of, well, how do you make a better tattoo ink just from a usability standpoint? So that's where we see our role and how we feel like we can interface, with the community of, tattooers and tattoo enthusiasts is not in trying to cause problems, but in trying to really empower a community of really dedicated, serious professionals to be in a position to do the best job they can.
That is awesome. I love hearing that. My last question for you.
Yeah.
When you initially decided to kind of push forward with the NIH funding, can you tell me about that experience a little bit and how you felt? Like, what was your
So the full interview could be found again on the YouTubes, or just do a search for Reinventing the Tattoo inks. Maybe John's work. You can see his name there on the if you back up on the video a little bit. It really is a pleasure to be able to help co-produce or executive or computer geeky produce the Reinventing the Tattoo network and channel. The content and the contributions that everyone is making is tremendous. I do want to read a couple of comments from the chat rooms. Miss Ross Melissa says, hi Gabe. Hey Melissa, thank you again for tuning in and being a great supporter of all of the Reinventing networks and just of tattooing in general. You're always inspiring about how much you're learning and bringing in from all the different tattoo teachers and art teachers and whatnot. Lou says, hey Gabe, just popped in to watch a bit before 1 o'clock appointment gets here. Loving all the content you guys are putting out there for us. Keep up the stellar work. Thanks again, Lou, for again tuning in. Check him out, Lou Gomes, Gomes. He's in Massachusetts now, Eastern Mass. Always a pleasure to have everybody tuning in here. Let's see, that's on the YouTubes. And okay, well, we got Will here on one of the Facebooks. It looks like, are they going to teach about the importance of not manipulating your tattoos for social media? Because that should be at the top of the list. We'll talk about it a little bit, but frankly, it's like, what are you going to do? I mean, we could kind of teach the clients to be able to differentiate. I don't know, personally, I mean, I've been in the computer space and the tattoo space and the promotion space for 2 decades, and I mean, the best representation of a tattoo is an actual tattoo. People manipulating their work, is always, it's always kind of going to happen. Like, I don't know what you could do about it except for tell people that it's dishonest and just do awesome work, put out great art, tattoos on people, and focus on, like word of mouth and bringing in clients for yourself. Ultimately, if people are manipulating or being dishonest in any way, in the long run, they'll get found out. People are posted up online. There's a couple of those spots, whatever, Tattoo Truth Fairy and all that. I don't even know what they are, and again, part of it's, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure how much energy it's worth, right? I think you're gonna go a lot farther by, again, focusing on doing better tattoos, better photos of your work to make them look like reality. I mean, the thing is, for me, most of the tattooers, at least that I know, the tattoos almost always look better than the photos. Because the tattoos, just higher resolution, and I get it, like the fresh tattoos right out of the gate is, but again, those fresh tattoos right out of the gate photos are not good representations of what the tattoo looks like. Healed tattoos are, and I always suggest tattooers have documentation parties. So if they bring out their tattoo clients, then they could, like I said, they get good healed tattoo pictures and all that. Okay. What else we got here? The next clip that I want to fire up is, this one's with some painters. Gabe Leonard and Chet Czar. Hoping to set something up with them maybe in the future out in New Mexico. We had a real good time in New Mexico a couple years ago. Hey, speaking of New Mexico, Lou, if you're still tuned in, these guys actually really they had met before. I think they drove out to the art retreat, but they definitely had a real good time together here and have been good friends since. And okay, here we go. This is Gabe Leonard and Chet Czar.
Yeah.
So you guys obviously must know a whole cast of characters of artists out there in LA and in the broader art world. And everyone, gets a little wild and crazy and with all the shit that's going on, like, so my question kind of is how do you feel about the separation of admiration of art from the artist? Is it something where, you hear the story about the musicians or the artists and then, or the filmmakers, and then it tinges the experience of that art, or do you get a real separation? Like, I appreciate the art, I don't give a shit what they say when they're drunk at the bar.
Well, you mean like, can someone be a villain in one story and a hero in another?
Yeah, I suppose, or mostly, like I said, every once in a while I'll hear stories about
Like the Michael
musicians.
Jackson thing?
Yeah, maybe. I never cared about Michael Jackson, so that doesn't
I
hit
didn't
me
either,
personally. But yeah, exactly. Like,
Or any number of things where somebody is, like you've liked their TV shows or their movies or things they've created, and all of a sudden you find out they're a piece of shit.
yeah, exactly. Now, how does that work as artists? Like,
You can still like the work. I think the work and the person who makes it. You don't have to like someone to appreciate what they've done. So someone can be a hero in one version of themselves and a monster in another. I think that's possible. Like even in my paintings, and I don't know, maybe Chet agrees with this too. Is like I don't really make someone out to be a hero or a villain. They might look like one or the other, but it's always up for the person to decide. Like, is this person bad or good? I can't tell. And I think that we all have that monster inside of us somewhere, and if we don't, we're just lying to ourselves. If we think that we're not a monster somewhere, if we couldn't be the Hitler, every one of us has that capacity within us. People, I don't think people are necessarily inherently good or evil. I think those are things that are probably developed through the pressures of their environment, like how they were raised, what the experiences they had, all these things. They lead into a direction of not to say that people aren't completely responsible, but things happen to people that help form who they are.
Sure.
And you can't be responsible for everything that happens to you. The question is, are we responsible for everything that we do? And then you can get into the questions of, do we have free will and all those sort of things. And I lean on the side of that. I don't think we do have free will, but to have that, you have to kind of accept that the terming things in the sense of good and evil is just a way of thinking about things, that maybe good and evil don't exist. I mean, we obviously have an experience and we know what we mean when we say evil, but when you try to pin anything like that down, it gets ambiguous and confusing, down to the point where, is Michael Jackson evil? Well, maybe to some people, and maybe for some parts of his life he was, but that doesn't mean that his music isn't good or isn't influential or didn't have an impact in our culture. So
it's weird though, because that, it's kind of a conundrum in a way, because to say that a child molester did all these horrible things to kids isn't bad or evil is, I don't think there's a clear-cut answer, like sympathizing with Hitler or a serial or a rapist or a child molester. It's like, on one hand, because I agree with you kind of, it's like good and evil are man-made concepts ultimately, and but at the same time we are human beings, so there is some kind of moral baseline that most people kind of believe, and it's just like it's not an easy cut and dried answer. I don't think, you know what I mean? Like, because to say, okay, Michael Jackson, he was just product of his environment and blah blah. He's not evil. He's evil's a man-made thing, but he raped kids raped children, fucked their whole lives up. All kinds of kids, ruined their lives pretty much. People are like suffering now because of it. So it's almost like disregarding the suffering of the kids to go, he was just a product of this, and he didn't. You can't really judge. I'm just saying, there's no clear cut answer. Is all. It's like wiggly.
Well, we're trying to balance that scale between is the art that was produced more significant than the harm that was created.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
it's like that with Woody Allen too. It's like I love Woody Allen movies and I love Roman Polanski movies, and I'm able to make the separation. I think it's like a personal thing, really. I think it's a personal thing. Everybody kind of has to make that separation. On the other hand, there's a painter that I knew that turned out to be a total scumbag asshole guy in this scene, and I can't really get into his work anymore because of it. So I think but it was like I was more personally involved. So
that's like, do you help the starving child who's begging on the street and not help the person who's in Ethiopia on a TV commercial? It's like, it's proximity to your experience really depends on what you're going to do to help someone. So it brings me back to the point I always say: there's no answer. There's no answer for any of it. that's just an easy out.
It's just like there's no, the sooner I think we admit that there's no clear-cut answer for anything, the easier it will be to actually come up with solutions for some of the problems.
We're always trying to define what our morality as an individual or culture is, and you might think of our morality as a way of thinking that allows us to go away from suffering and go towards something better. So it may not be some sort of absolute truth, but it might be something that's there's a lot of intellectual philosophers that talk about this lately, like if you guys are familiar with Sam Harris and Jordan Peterson and those guys, and so they have some interesting insights. Yeah,
that means that YouTube's going to tag this, and all of a sudden we're just going to get Jordan Peterson for like the next 6 months on YouTube.
We're not going to go into all the things he says, but what they seem to argue is that they argue around the ideas of what morality is and where it comes from and why we have it, and some people like to argue on the side that it must come from some sort of divinity that leads us towards something good, and others might argue that it's a product of evolution in our experience because it was selected for, and that's why it's still here. And so the ideas that allowed people to survive longer, at least to reproduction age, tend to survive longer. And so so some of the ideas around morality based on a ideology, an ideology that is too old and unadaptable, like in some Western religions, have a harder time, we have a harder time rounding off and making those fit our current situations. So some other ideologies and philosophies that don't have such a unchangeable story structure that we're allowed to adapt these things and maybe even create new things for things that we have, like stories in the Bible aren't going to tell us what to do about looking at our smartphone too much. That just wasn't conceivable. But they're, if you want to think about it like a simple version of morality, it's like it used to be, impolite to have your hat on inside or in a theater, and now everybody's got a bright screen to turn on, checking their text messages, and they do, and it just happens so fast that the rules that we form around these things haven't caught up with it. And so what we're looking at now is like we didn't used to see it as either you were a hero, or either you were like a really important creator, like a musician or an actor or a movie maker, and your sins were brushed under because your credit was so good. Well, now because of our ability to pay attention so closely, we can see the monster in everybody. And so now we have to figure out, well, do we lump them all in one category? Do we give them all the credit, or do we give them all the blame? and maybe we have to figure out how to compartmentalize those things so that we're not, like with Michael Jackson or those guys, they didn't do this on the good things. They didn't do on their own either. They had people they worked with. They had producers.
Right.
They had friends and family and people that they rose up to great achievements with the help of everyone around them. And they destroyed people in exactly the same way.
Yeah,
with the help of everybody around them.
Yeah.
So they did both of those things, and so should you throw out one or the other or both? That's I think where we're at in our society, trying to figure that out.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird time because everything's changing so fast. Everything is.
Sorry about that transition, but yeah, those two are awesome and have a lot of great things to say. Let's see. So Lou in the chat room here, the amazing advances in our materials and techniques comes up a lot in my talks with clients. It's a great time to be a tattooer with all the scientists working hard to make tattoos better. Excuse me, I have to agree. It's amazing to watch real high-powered executive level functioning thinkers really take part in advancing of the tattoo world. And there's a fair amount clearly of tattooers who are at the helm of this that are leading those actual scientific advances. Now, of course, there's a couple of non-tattooers, and I'm thinking of one in particular who's had a tremendous impact. But anyway, point is, it's amazing that tattooing has grown to the point where it's able to basically have like a crew of tattooers who are like an R&D department, and it's very exciting to see where it's going to be going. Okay, what else? I think I've got another video here. Well, I know I have another video here, but I also do want to show off a website, some of the new TattooNOW websites. This is the TattooNOW Show after all. Hey, Stevie Money says hi in one of the I think that's a Facebook. Hey, Stevie Money, definitely check out tattoomoney.com. Yeah, it's undergoing an overhaul as we speak. I'll be working on it right after we catch up, and after we're done here, and I'm back to in my computer geeky work. So let's see here. Let me screen share. So the last thing I wanted to say about those guys was, well, we'll see. I don't want to talk about anything before it's time, but if you're interested, we are setting up inspiring tours. It's inspiring.tours, and these are art retreats for tattooers, small groups. Currently only, let's see, sure, 5 to 7 people. Excuse me. We're doing them we're currently booking them in North Conway, New Hampshire, at the Sam O'Reilly House. It's affiliated with the Boston Tattoo Company. And the first one that we hosted here sold out pretty quick within 48 hours. Sean Barber and Nick Baxter are going to lead, I think it's 5 or might be 7, 5 to 7 people through 3.5 days of workshops and then tattooing. There are more that are being planned as we speak. I'm also hoping to do one out in New Mexico. So if you go to inspiring.tours, that's the website, one of the few .coms I didn't get. It's a .tours. And, just go to your website, inspiring.tours, and join the newsletter here, and you will get first chance to get tickets for the future shows. Okay, let me fire up one last video. This is we're gonna go out with a clip, the first chunk from the Tattoo Humanities. This is a discussion panel of tattooed historians, people who study tattoo history and like wicked ancient history and prehistory even. That's a group of experts. It was very exciting to be hosting this panel over the October BYOB at Paradise, and we will be getting the full length of this out in the future. So this is another good reason, if you're interested in this stuff, hit up the Reinventing newsletter, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and yeah, you'll get notice when the full lengths come out. So this is, like I said, the panel, and Lauren's going to introduce everybody. These things, these types of events really make this job one of the best I could imagine ever. Thank you, everybody. From the Paradise BYOB in Hancock, Massachusetts. This is going to be a Reinventing the Tattoo podcast hosted by Lauren. It's an amazing panel of authors and historians and people who have dedicated a significant portion of their lives, if not all of it, to studying tattoos and ancient tattoos and stuff. So thanks again for beaming in, and I'm going to pass the video over to Lauren.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Gabe. I know that this Paradise BYOB event was something where you brought artists together to focus on different areas of tattooing. I know we spoke today about, the pigments. We spoke earlier about, like an art jam. So this is another avenue for artists to learn about probably one of the most important aspects, and that would be the historical relevance. So joining us today is prehistoric archaeologist Aaron Dieter Wolf. Also a PhD candidate in archaeology, Andrew Gilruth Brown, tattoo scholar with a BA in anthropology, Ben Robitaille, and professor of anthropology and archaeology, Dr. Ann Austin. So today we'll have it set up as like a 2-hour panel discussing a few different topics for about 30 minutes or so each. We'll have some references shared. We'll actually kick off with introductions now and then maybe move into tattoo tools with some cool images. So take a seat, get comfortable. Probably one of the most important aspects and pretty cool historical relevance. To get started, Dr. Ann Austin, can you tell us everyone who you are and some of the stuff that you're working on? And I'll have you go first.
Sure. That's the advantage of having a name. So it's nice to meet you all. I am an assistant professor at the University of Missouri in St. Louis, and my research focuses on tattoos in Egypt. So Egyptian mummies are probably the most famous mummies, but today we'll talk about human mummified remains from around the world. But surprisingly, there wasn't a huge amount known about the practice of tattooing in ancient Egypt until the last 20 years or so, where we started to find more and more evidence, and particularly the evidence that's coming from the site where I work, which is called Darul Medina, is really just changing how we understand what tattooing looked like in ancient Egypt.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining. All right, and let's hear from you, Aaron Dieter Wolf. We spoke with him several months prior on the Reinventing community app and such, and we're happy to have you back.
Hey, thanks, Lauren. Yeah, so I am a prehistoric archaeologist for the state of Tennessee's Division of Archaeology. So most of my day-to-day work is on ancient Native American archaeological sites in the state of Tennessee. But I guess over a decade or so now ago, I got interested in the archaeological footprint of tattooing. As someone with tattoos, as an archaeologist, I was curious why we weren't finding more evidence of this practice in the past. And so that sort of launched me on this research track that's gone down a number of different rabbit holes, and worked with people like Andrew and Ben, who are here with us today, on different topics ranging from identifications of ancient tattooing tools in the archaeological record to more recently studies of tattooed Indian mummified remains.
Excellent. Very, very interesting. And I know we'll dive into some pictures and things that you have ready to show of tools that we're all interested to see and learn about. All right, Ben Robitaille, how are you? And tell our viewers a little bit about you.
I'm doing fine. I'm an independent researcher, so my main gig is growing vegetables. But I've been working on mainly tracing, mapping, and asking myself questions on the history of pre-electric tattooing tools for the last 25 years. And I've been dragged in on all sorts of side quests, most notably by my friend Aaron Dieter Wolf.
Well, that is awesome. Very cool to hear. All right. And Andrew, if you would like an introduction for you as well.
Yeah, my name is Andrew Gilreath Brown. I am a PhD candidate at Washington State University in the Department of Anthropology, and I primarily consider myself a computational archaeologist, which means that I do a lot of stuff like on the computer coding, and primarily my dissertation stuff focuses on reconstructing past climates and then taking some archaeological data and doing some interesting things with it. Like looking at the domestication of corn and spread of corn. But I actually got into tattoo research through working at the museum here in the department, and ended up running across a tattoo tool from the Southwest, and then did a lot of different analyses on it that we'll talk about today. And I had already worked with Aaron some from my time in Tennessee, and so I actually immediately reached out to him when I found that artifact before I started doing any work, and that kind of set me on the path to really looking at tattooing in the southwestern United States.
Very cool. So as you guys can all hear and understand, we do have a wide array of perspectives and experience. So this will be very, very interesting from different parts of the world. So to kick off our first topic, I'd like to speak about tattoo tools found in different regions. So if between Andrew, Ben, Aaron, if anyone of you would like to start, and screen sharing is totally okay. We're good to go with any of that at any point.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess I'll just jump in real quickly and say that this is really Ben's area of expertise.
Sure.
But what I really like to lead discussions of this topic with is just to throw out there that when you go to the general public and you say ancient tattooing, that immediately people tend to think of the tattooing being done in the Pacific, of that that very distinctive hand tap or hand hammered style being done in places like Samoa, and think of those tools as being what all ancient tattooing tools looked like. And really interacting with Ben opened my eyes as to just, the variety of these tools around the globe. And I think, his research is really fantastic here. So, Ben, hit it, man.
Take it away, Ben.
All right. I hope you guys can hear me okay.
Yep, doing okay.
Okay, good. Well, in from a general perspective, I mean, tattooing instruments are not super varied, right? The function of tattooing kind of determines a certain number of limited forms, which are going to perform the operation of introducing pigment at the right depth of the skin without causing too much trauma. So, that essentially limits the forms of instruments to puncturing instruments and incising instruments. So, I mean, if we look at a world map, it's unfortunate because I don't have any images. I don't know if Aaron has anything you can throw up.
I got you, Ben. Give me a second.
Cool. So yeah, there's we could still identify some. There you go. So the most basic form and one which has a likelihood of having been reinvented at least a few times over human history would be the basic puncture tattooing with simple needles, simple group needles, or simple group needles hafted to a handle inline, like a straight tool. You can see on the map that's the greens. So I mean, it's really widespread, and there's not much more I can say about that. I mean, it's found on all continents. My main field of study would be the hand tapping instruments. So hand tapping is a practice that's done with perpendicularly hafted tattoo instruments. So they're not inline, but the needles are hafted perpendicularly to the handle of the tool, and one uses a mallet and sometimes rarely a finger to tap it, so to give it that impulse to get the needles to push the pigment into the skin. It's a very circumscribed distribution, so that means we only find them in one area of the world, which happens to be quite widespread. But and this area would be Oceania, insular Southeast Asia, so Indonesia, Borneo, the Philippines, and Taiwan. It's very strongly correlated to the speaking of Austronesian languages, which leads us to believe that this is something that came about in the early history of Austronesian peoples in Southeast Asia or along the coast of Southeast Asia, and spread out with the Austronesian migrations, accounting for its actual distribution. Incised tattooing is tattooing done with a blade. In recent time, it could be a razor blade or a piece of broken glass or metal. And in ancient times, I think there's a strong correlation between access to obsidian and incised tattooing. Now, obsidian makes this the cleanest possible cut into the skin, so not very traumatic and therefore suitable for inserting pigment without it being rejected and whatnot. It's the most spotty distribution, and the one that's really gives us the idea that there's the biggest chance that this was reinvented on, in many instances across the world. So you can see this, the blue, so it's just little patches, there's no big consistent distribution. And the last of the
Reinventing
main variants of tattooing techniques or instruments would be subdermal tattooing, which is best known amongst circumpolar peoples and Arctic people, most notably Inuit from Greenland across to Alaska. And we also find this technique in possibly in South America, and most notably in the extreme south of South America. So subdermal tattooing is often kind of misnamed skin stitching. So people will probably be familiar with that term. So using a needle and thread to draw a pigment along a stained thread through the skin. It's not actually stitching because obviously the stitch doesn't stay in. So it's been suggested they could be called basting. But also subdermal tattooing, there are some variants, and the idea here that defines the practice is the fact that the pigment is pushed in sideways through the skin through an entry and an exit hole. So there are some yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I've got photos. I got a photo of those Greenland tools. Do you want those?
Oh yeah, sure. You could
Cool.
Pop them up. So there you go. So in this case, we see it's not stitching, but it's subdermal tattooing instruments. So the larger instrument has a metal point, and that would be used to create an entry and an exit hole, parallel to the surface of the skin, just underneath. And then the second tool would be used to insert pigment in the same hole, and the second tool would just be a wooden tool.
Okay. Oh, I have to stop it here too, as well as stop the screen share. So that was an amazing panel, and you'll just have to, again, stay tuned for the full panel, because that I'm still editing feverishly away. So if you are a tattooer, then I want to show you one of the new websites that we've recently launched. It is mdtattooconsulting.com, and let me mdtattooconsulting.com. Boop. And I'm going to do a little screen share here. I'm pretty excited about the website. And if you're a tattooer, Mike is now currently offering a free critique. Now, this is an asynchronous free critique, but boom. Oh, what's kind of funny is this is offering his in-person workshop, but you cannot get the in-person workshop because you haven't gone through the course yet. And I have. This is one of these fun websites that it changes depending on who you are, right? So this is one of the new tricks, it is a trick or a tool that I'm using, which allows us to take the same homepage and show different content to stress different content depending on who's watching. So when I just screen shared it with you, it was my regular account, and it saw that I had already been a client of Mike's, so was offering his one-on-one personal services. And to start, here we go. MDTattooConsulting.com. It's also howtotattoobetter.com. Mike isn't clearly teaching anybody how to tattoo online, but he can teach you how to tattoo better. And if you want, you can just click the free critique and consult button here, and he will fill this out, relatively thoroughly. And then he will get a notice on his task list to send back a critique. He might make a video. He might just do it with, typing it out. But one way or another, he'll send you over a free consult. Now, he is booking time with one-on-one. So if you're looking for 15 minutes with him to talk back and forth, or half an hour or an hour or two, he is doing full tattoo consulting. So you could check out that he's got a 15-minute huddle, a 30-minute jam session, 60-minute deep dives. And then if you're looking to go 2 hours, he'll sit down with you and, again, go over pretty much everything that he can. And he's got a ton of experience, and yeah, it's pretty sick. Let's see, let me stop that screen share. And then the last thing I do want, well, I'm not going to show off any more TattooNOW stuff. What I do want to do is say thank you very much for watching. It's good to catch up with people. There's a woman in Philly. Oh, sorry, Jeremy, I'm not sure exactly what that was in reference to, but I appreciate you watching and chatting in the chat room, and everybody else that's watching. I guess the last thing I do want to say before signing off is, one of my goals for next year is to start doing more regular comments on the tattoo news. And it's been a little bit rough to kind of, or I thought it was rough reading the Google News, because there's, as you can imagine, a lot of frivolous celebrity kind of news that's coming through the Google feed. Today was a brutal awakening where, instead of sifting through a dozen, stupid, news items about celebrity tattoos, it was all about Denver and the horrible tragedy. And it's worth, going and finding the GoFundMe's for the Denver shooting. 5 people, I believe, died. There's multiple tattooers that were specifically targeted, and I'm sure all their families could use help. Horrible situation. So definitely be thankful every day. And I guess the only thing I might be able to say about it is that the energies that they were putting out, that the tattooers were putting out there, are going to inspire thousands of others to carry on and pick up with a lot of energy what has been snuffed out prematurely. Okay, well, anyways, another reminder to make next year every day the best we can, and tattooing does indeed help that. So do better tattoos, get better tattoos, and be thankful every day, and go find some Denver GoFundMe's to support, because they all had kids. Okay, sorry to go out on that note, but there we go. Cheers, everybody.